Hey guys, welcome back to another video. On this one I've got a couple of different products which I'd like to share with you and recommend. The first one being this 7-piece block kit from Melomotive. This isn't a sponsored video, or I wasn't given this or anything like that. I actually purchased this last week. It arrived on my door about 4 days later, $101 delivered. I think that was a fantastic price. I think these blocks are going to serve a really good purpose, and I can't wait to show you. Now, there's 3 different colors. There's white, black, and red. Black being extremely firm, red being a little bit firmer, less firm, and white being really flexible. And they recommend a certain sandpaper grit for each of those blocks. Just to skim over it for you so you have a bit of a rundown. The white blocks are soft and they recommend 2000 grit plus. The medium blocks are the red ones. Ideal grit range is between 1200 to 2000. The firm blocks, which are the black ones, they reckon between 600 to 1200 grit. And then the hard block, they say it's glass here, but it's more of a polycarbonate plastic. Ideal grit range is 600 to 800. 600 to, yes, I said that right, yeah. So here's all the blocks, guys. So they've got 3 of these tiny ones. So this is obviously the real flexible one. And they've actually got a curved, hope you can see that. They've got like a curved edge on it. All 3 of those blocks are the same. Hopefully we can show you a little bit better. Or maybe I'll put it up against my jumper so you can see that curved part on it. I'll zoom in on that. So that's the next harder block, and then obviously the black one. And then they've got the bigger versions of it for bigger shaped panels. So yeah, they've got 3 of them that size. And then finally, guys, you've got the glass block, which is suitable, what was it, 600 to 800 grit. Now, I've got a bit of a tip for you with this block. Now, when I was purchasing these blocks on the Melomotive website, they actually, a little pop-up come up when I was at the checkout, asking me if I wanted any Velcro sandpaper, not Velcro, any sticky back sandpaper. Now, I've got heaps of sandpaper here, or else I would have purchased some. Now, if you're using sticky back sandpaper on this particular block, you really got to be mindful of the corners of the blocks, because they are incredibly sharp, especially when we're talking paint and like clear coats. This block is incredibly sharp. Now, if you're blocking, and you shouldn't be blocking a curved panel with this block anyway, because you've got other curved blocks designed for that. But if you, for whatever reason, are sanding a flat surface and you're coming up towards a curve, if you're not careful and if the corners aren't protected, the block will slice your clear coat, and I've seen it happen before. About 7 years ago, I painted a VE SSV black base, gold flake. We actually got a detailer in to do a full paint correction on it, sand down the whole clear coat, polish it up. He was using a block exactly like this, a little bit different though. His one had a bit of black foam on it, which kind of protects the corners of the block. Over time, that foam block does get worn down, and more of the edges of the block are exposed. Now, he was sanding the top of the quarter panel. I don't know if you know the VE Commodores, how they kind of come up flat and they roll over, and it's a little bit flat in line with the boot, but then when it goes up the C-pillar, it goes up like that. That's a nice little demonstration. And he actually used this block, and he was blocking the tops of the quarter panel and put a big slice in the C-pillar. I had to re-clear the clear coat. I wasn't a happy chappy that day, let me say that. So just be mindful, guys, that if you are using the sticky back sandpaper, just make sure you use this block on flat surfaces only. Don't try and cut a corner, or else you will cut your clear coat. Now, the ordinary sandpaper, just put it on, roll it around and hold it on top so all the corners are protected. Apart from that, guys, that's the only tip I really got to give with this block. The rest of the blocks I've never really used before. Can't wait to give it a shot, guys. Now, we've actually got another really good product. Now, I've used this product heaps of times in the past, and I speak extremely highly of it. Now, this is the 3D polish. I've got the stage 1 and I've got the stage 2. Let me just focus in on that for you. So that's the stage 1. So that's your cutting compound. Every cutting brand or every polish out there, stage 1 is always a cutting compound. Stage 2 is generally a swell remover. So cutting compounds usually make holograms and swell marks on your panel, and that's where your stage 2 comes in to remove those swell marks and holograms. So yeah, extremely good products. I wouldn't be recommending any product to you guys if I didn't think it was pretty good. Now, Mark, the importer for Australia, actually done a demo in front of me one day on a bonnet that was painted. Got some 180 grit sandpaper, sanded down a section of the bonnet, used the cutting compound over that area, polished up 180 grit. I know I didn't stutter, not that time, and polished up all those sanding grit scratches, and I was blown away. About 2 minutes using a foam pad, and all those 180 grit scratches were gone from using this cutting compound. Extremely good, guys. You don't need to use a lot. 3 main sizes of bottles, 250, 500 and litre bottles. I got these from Dandenong Bodyshop. There'll be a link down in the description. With that said, guys, let's start sanding. Oh, actually, what are we sanding? We're actually sanding a Fender. You didn't hear that. All right, so what are we sanding, guys? We're actually sanding down this Fender, which I painted at work last week or a couple of weeks ago. So we got cobalt blue candy base coat, purple storm candy base coat, and then I think it's 100 micron silver metal flake over it. So the lighting in here is probably not the best to be showing the metal flake, but as you can imagine, there's lots of different tape lines which you can feel on it. I put about 3 coats of like clear on it, pumped every single coat on to try and bury all those lines. Now, depending on the size flake and the tape that you're using, and also the clear coat, depends, and how many coats of the clear coat, depends on how much you feel all those tape lines. So what we're going to do, guys, is use the Melomotive blocks. We're going to sand down this whole Fender, dead flat, dead smooth. We're going to be running through all the different grits of sandpaper with each of the blocks. Let's see how well they work. I can't wait to give them a shot. Let's go. So I'd already started sanding down a section, and I was actually using orbital paper, orbital 800 with the black block. And then I remembered that I had a brand new box of sandpaper with 800, so I thought we might as well use this. So usually I would soak the sandpaper for a bit longer than just a bit of a dunk, but this is still going to be okay. So what we'll do, as you can see, we've sanded down this corner, or like the tapered shape of the panel with the tapered blocks. Now, I am using 800 grit. Now, the box does recommend that you use 800 with the hard block. Now, I wouldn't recommend using the hard block in a shape like this. The hard block is suitable for your flat surfaces, which we'll probably use on top, if I was to be honest. So I'm just, blocking. I'm not putting a great deal of pressure down. And it does pay too to sand for a little bit and then run your fingers over the lines and feel for those steps. At least that way you know that like you've sanded enough or you haven't sanded enough. Oh, we're about to lose our fender. All right, that feels really good. So we'll keep going over it. I'll stop the video and we'll sand all this, and I'll pick this back up when we start doing the top. I'm now jumping to 800 steel, but with the black block. Just gonna dunk that in the water and start blocking. So really easy to hold actually for such a small block. I quite like it. We'll just keep feeling those lines. The 800 doesn't take much to block all those tape lines out. The clear coat did bury probably 80% of the lines anyway, so we don't really need to get too carried away with the sanding. You can definitely tell that the clear coat buried the lines a lot more on top, but as further down the side of the panel you go, but the clear coat hasn't buried it as much. Now that's probably to do with how the clear coat flows out, but also the way that I spray as well. I usually go a little bit heavier on the tops, where I usually back off a fair bit on the sides and areas where it's going to run a little bit easier. That way, at least you still get a good finish over the whole thing, and you don't risk getting runs everywhere. So I can still feel those lines with the block, hey? It's pretty bad over here. I like that you can like kind of bend the block to the shape of the panel too. That's pretty cool. All right, we'll give that a wipe off. Have a bit of a feel. So the center feels pretty good. It's just the edges just here over the middle. All right, that feels pretty good. A couple of lines over here to block out. Alrighty guys, so we've blocked it all down. We've removed all the lines with 800 grit and the black blocks. So now what we're going to do is jump to like 1500 and continue blocking all that 800 grit scratches out. And then we're going to jump to like 2000, then 2500, and then we'll start polishing. Alright guys, got some 3000 grit and the white really flexible block. Just going to go over it with 3000. This will speed up the polishing process really quickly. All right, we'll give that a wipe down, and we'll dry it all properly so we can see exactly what's been sanded and what hasn't. Alrighty guys, so we've sanded down the fender. All the lines are all nice and smooth, which is really good. So we started with 800, then we jumped to 1500, then 2000, and then I've just gone over it with 3000. So yeah, we're right to start polishing, guys. So the polish that I'll be using, we've already covered. Now I will be using my little air polisher. Depending on how long it takes me, I might jump to my buff. But yeah, the first thing we're going to do is give these pads a wash because they are filthy from the last time I used them. So yeah, we'll do that and we'll get into the polishing.
Alright guys, so we've used the stage 1 over the fender, and look how glassy it is already. Like, I only spent maybe 5 minutes giving it a polish with the wool pad, and it's just super glassy. It's wicked. So works very, very well. So what I've done now, I've taken the wool pad off, I've put the foam pad on, and we're going to be using the stage 2 polish now to get rid of any swell marks or holograms off it, which will enhance the gloss level just a little bit and just make the water just bead straight off it. Long lasting, it's fantastic stuff. So yeah, let's get polishing. There you go, guys. Big shout out to Melomotive for making such an amazing block. Well, multiple blocks. They're really good. I found that the radius on these smaller ones were really handy to get down in those little curved areas of the panel. Yeah, just fantastic blocks. Yeah, highly recommend. Pretty happy that I bought them. I was kind of umming and ahhing about it, whether they were even worth it, like, you know, because, like, I mean, if I was to show you inside my toolbox how many different blocks I've got so many different blocks. Which one are we? This one. Like, that's just full of blocks. Like, I've got so many different blocks, and it's like, well, how are these blocks going to make my job easier and faster so I can be more productive? Not that it really matters for this kind of stuff when I'm doing it on my own accord, you know, but if I was working back in the panel shop, it's like, well, how could I justify spending $100, even though $100 on blocks is pretty cheap, I think. I just honestly, I think that they're really good. And look, like, Melomotive haven't given me these. I've bought these off my own back, on my own accord, you know, and I think they're fantastic. And look, in regards to the 3D polish, I mean, look, it honestly took me about 10 minutes to polish this fender. Yeah, super quick, just really, really good product. Can't speak highly enough about the 3D products. But yeah, apart from that, guys, that's it. Let's roll on a montage, and I'll see you on my next video. Cheers.